I want to
Yeah.
talk about the music scene in Toronto.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Toronto is the best place for live music. It offers. I mean, it. I mean, there are top venues that I actually want to talk about. So it's basically number one would be the Horseshoe, the
Harshey
Tavern,
Tavern. Yeah. Yeah.
Drake Underground, the
Yeah.
Red, Dakota, and another one would be the where DJ
Revival.
right Revival, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, um, it has a Toronto has a thriving audience for hip hop artists, jazz musicians, and as well as country musicians. Also, there's one more, the indie rockers. It's a heaven for indie rockers. So I have a question for you. Can you tell me about? Can you describe the show business? The entertainment industry in Toronto, especially the music scene.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's a pretty big question. So, um, I guess you treated it open ended, so I'll answer it open ended. So in terms of like, I guess the show aspect of it, so like live performances, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's different levels for sure, right?
yeah,
So entry wise, like definitely tons of open mic opportunities where you really just get to like go to a bar, go to a different location, what have you, and perform. You're put on a list, you get to perform, like whether it's like original content or covers or whatever, and people just get to enjoy. And just if people like it, they'll give you feedback afterwards and stuff like that. Build your network, meet other artists who are doing similar things. It's a cool opportunity. I did a ton of it. I will continue to do a ton of it. I still do it because it's a lot of fun, and it's also a great way to build up your skill set,
mhm,
practice, and meet new people who just love the art form. So yeah, I've done that at a few different places. I did that a lot at Drom Taberna. Shout out Drom, which is at Queen and Augusta in Toronto. So I would do that a lot there. It's like a second home for me. And there's another spot, Bovine Sex Club, which is like down the street on Queen Street. Also, big rock location as well, but they also had an open mic scene, so I would do that there. And there was another spot on Queen called Nocturne, which was a really cool spot. They closed it down in 2018, but did a bunch of shows there, like paid shows as well as like other kinds of stuff. So yeah, those are like big spots where I would frequent. Horseshoe Tavern was another one that I would go to. I know they're like part of like Canada Music Week. Like people perform at those venues like through Canada Music Week and stuff. I've met a lot of really cool artists there. Um, Potential collabs that I wanted to look at and stuff like that.
yeah,
So there was lots and lots of really cool things that that happened in these different locations. But what I was trying to get at is like, so entry level, you look at like more of these like open mics and stuff like that, where there's not really like much of a bar
uh-huh,
to
yeah,
stop you from kind of performing. Then you can look at other types of shows where maybe like a promoter will put on like a showcase,
yeah,
which I've done as well, where someone will like get a venue and they'll work with the venue runner, like people who run the venue, basically be like, hey, we're gonna put on a showcase. Maybe they'll sell tickets. So like each performer can like sell a certain number of tickets or whatever. Maybe you get a portion of sales, and the venue gets to walk away with like the bar sales or whatever.
yeah,
Um, and so those are opportunities too, right? Again, another way to like really like lower barrier of entry. Maybe you have to like pay a little bit up front, or you get like a portion of you have to sell a certain amount of tickets, and a portion of that goes to the promoter. But again, like you can get on those fairly easily. Um, and again, another way to just practice like performing. After that, you start looking at things like, okay, do you want to like run your own show? Now that's really far down the line where you have more of an audience, but you can look at getting on the bill of someone else's show. So like if it's like lead, artists, bigger name industry artists,
yeah,
if you can get on like a bill with them, those are always a good look. Because then now you're presenting to their audience.
yeah,
It's not as much pressure to try and get like the show performed, like show on, because tickets are going to be sold through that leading artists and stuff like that. So those are like again next level up, really just getting your name out there. And then once you start feeling more comfortable to like have your own show, you can obviously run those. So different approaches to that, whether it's like you're in contact with like a particular venue, and you try and like sort that booking out yourself. You can look at actual booking agents. So like getting someone to book your show, at different venues, and then you work out what the splits are going to be and what the agreement is with the venue as well as with the booking agent, the promoters, and stuff like that.
yeah,
There's different websites that you can use. to like, you know, kind of like automate that process. So like, I think like Sonic Gigs is another one of those where it's like you can actually just go to the website, look at different locations or whatever that are looking for artists to perform at, and then work out whatever the terms are. You know, they'll usually put like what their terms are, or, you know, negotiable terms or whatever, and yeah, try and, you know, build a tour out of that. So there's lots of different approaches to it. Yeah.
Is that the spelling?
I gotta double check the name of the site. Believe it's Sonic Gigs. I haven't used it in a while. I mean, COVID and all that, but there's Sonic Bids is what it is. So here, I'll put it in the chat here. There's a chat here. So yeah, so there's like different options like that.
Yeah.
And then there's other things where like, so for example, there's like conferences and festivals, right? Like those are really big opportunities. So for example, like Indie Week is like a conference, but it's also like a kind of like a festival where it's like just different performances. It's independent artists, right? Indie Week in the name. So you can like apply for like, you know, being able to like showcase there, and get on the roster there. You could look at like applying for Canada Music Week, right? It's a big, you know, stage to be able to like perform at and stuff like that. And network, right? You know, meet with different people who are in the industry. And then there's other festivals like, you know, like A3C, you know, you start looking at South by Southwest, stuff like that. So that's like a broad